Hi, I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. I can't even say my name tonight. Um, yeah, we have had a slight change of plan. When I was in the news business for 25 years, things just fall through sometimes, and they don't happen as you expect them to. And while it's disappointing, it's also you got to give people a wide berth in this world. And but I am going to still talk about the clemency that the governor of Oregon, Kate Brown, she's obviously anti-crime or pro-crime, I guess. Gosh, what a nutcase! She's already released murderers, rapists, and killers into the streets of Oregon, and then people question why there's a problem, why crime is up in Oregon. Obviously, math is not a requirement. We can't add 1 + 1 and come up with 2. It's a cluster screw. And so her latest move is to grant clemency from the death penalty, and make life sentences out of 17 of Oregon's most ruthless killers. And she has people supporting her in that. I find that absolutely appalling. So tonight, we were supposed to have Donna Ream. She was the lone survivor in the Dairy Mart killings in April of 1994. 4 Satanists walked into a Dairy Mart out on Royal Avenue. It's been torn down since, and there's a new one there. But there was a Dairy Mart there. And they cased the place earlier in the day. They did admit to being Satanists and walked into the store. A woman named Fran Wall was in the cooler, and they bludgeoned her head open in the cooler. Probably didn't even see it coming, and it was just instantly killed. I think Jason Brumwell was responsible for that killing. He is one of the inmates. He was not found guilty of murder, or I don't remember, honestly. I just looked up all the records of these different people. He was actually put on death row. Michael Hayward was put on death row for killing Franny Wall, and brutally attacking Donna Ream. She lost half of her blood. She broke both of her arms, I think. And Donna was going to be on the show tonight. I love this woman. And I don't know what happened, but she's a no-show. And that's where you give wide berth to people. I did not go through what she has gone through. So I do not know. Jake Williams, if you want to come on, send me your email and I'll put you on and you can talk if you want to do it. I bet Jake Williams, his brother Brandon, Brandon's girlfriend Crystal, and their other Bendel, and Patrick Finley, a friend, were all brutally murdered by a man named Conan Hale. Let's not call him a man. Let's call him a little fucked up douche, Conan Hale. And he is on death row, or was, until the governor now has released him into, not released out of prison, but he has a life sentence. And he is a dirtbag. And he also was put on this list by Governor Brown. In Donna's case, her 2 arms were broken, and they shoved a rod down her throat and broke all of her teeth, a bunch of her teeth, her skull. They hit her so much, I think, that if I remember the story right, that she lost some of her hair on top of her head. It was scalped, like had to have hair transplants kind of things. Okay, so hold on, guys. Okay, hold on, Jake. Let me do something here. You guys, we're going to do something real quick here. I'm going to find. Okay, you guys just bear with me because this is very important. This is how it works. Okay, hold on, Jake. JK. Hold on, guys. Okay, hold on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to invite Jake. His brother was murdered by Conan Hale, and underscore. Hold on. Oh, no. All right, guys. This is what you call off the cuff. Okay, Jake, that's coming your way. All right, so we'll see if we can get Jake on here. Anyway, so Donna was going to come on tonight and talk about this because she is mad, angry. How would you feel if you were somebody whose relative had been killed, or you had survived these brutal murders, and then the governor of your state basically because and the people of Oregon voted in 1984, and they've 3 times they've tried to overturn the capital punishment law, and to no avail. Oregon voters would not do it, and then the governor comes in, and with one sweep of a pen, at the end of her term, she grants clemency to these people. Well, I'm sorry, what is that? That is absolutely it's unconscionable. I mean, it is absolutely disgusting. And then she's taken the room where they put them down. There we go. Okay, so let's bring Jake on here. Hey, Jake, how you doing, man?
Not bad. How you doing, Rick?
You know, I had totally not even thought. I had Donna coming on, and something happened, and I don't know what, but I think she's just probably at the end. I mean, this is a lot, and I think she just kind of probably just said, "Rick, I can't do it," and she. But then all of a sudden I'm looking through the things like 10 minutes ago, and I see Conan Hale, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I should have called Jacob. So I'm so glad you came on. So Jacob's brother.
Coincidence, actually. My phone sent me a notification. I don't get your stuff all the time, but for some reason my phone sent me a notification, and I clicked it, and I was like, what are the chances?
I guess you're supposed to be here. So Conan, how are you feeling about this? Because your brother Brandon, his girlfriend Crystal, and Patrick, his friend, were all not only murdered, but like he made fun of them after they were dead, like by dressing them up and stuff.
Yeah, pretty disgusting. We actually, so he actually had a court hearing about 3 months ago, 3 months ago. And we all went. Of course, he wasn't physically there, but he was there like via Zoom meeting. So he got to interact with the courtroom and see what was going on. And I mean, we all got a chance to say what we wanted to say. And so he's the only one of all the death row inmates that actually offered to. His plea was to actually be given a true life sentence. So I don't know why. I mean, obviously that's like the worst possible outcome for all of them. So I don't know why he chose to do it that way.
Because as Bill Lundun's going to explain in a little bit here. In fact, let me play this for people because Bill has a little stint in here that kind of talks about what's going on. So Jacob, you stay with me real quick. Hang on.
Well, here we are near the end of the year, and things just keep being status quo, like Oregon's leadership continuing to go soft on crime. When Oregon Governor Kate Brown commuted the death sentence for all remaining 17 prisoners on death row in Oregon, turns out she not only spared them from the death penalty, which you could say is in violation of the Oregon constitutional provision enacted by voters 3 times, she also purposefully left open the door for these criminals, and we're talking about the very worst in all of Oregon. She opened the door and left it open for them to seek legal cases to leave prison on parole. Although it's within the governor's broad clemency powers to block all of the prisoners who receive death row commutations from seeking parole, guess what Brown didn't do? Well, she chose not to do that. Not a single case apparently caught Governor Brown's attention, like, for instance, Christian Longo. Remember him? He killed his 3 children and his wife, stuffed them into suitcases, and tossed them into the Pacific. Maybe she didn't remember the cop killers that blew up a bomb in a bank in Woodburn, killing police officers, and they were trying to kill innocent people. She didn't remember those, or any of the other stories, like the man who killed a store clerk for no reason, then beat another innocent person to death by clubbing them over 50 times with an tire iron, and then went to prison and killed somebody while he was in jail. So to Governor Brown, apparently crime does not matter, nor does it matter to her how much this is going to terrorize the victims' families. Nice message, by the way, to send to future criminals. Oh yeah, you can kill somebody in Oregon, but you're going to be let loose. Governor Brown also directed the Corrections Department to dismantle the death chamber, saying it's no longer needed. And she said this: the death penalty is a waste of taxpayer dollars. Really? Governor Brown is worried about taxpayer dollars being wasted? Like, since when? Did I miss something? Did I not get the memo from Brown's office? I honestly don't remember her saying anything about the $300 million that was wasted on Cover Oregon's website that never enrolled a single person into healthcare. I don't remember saying anything about being a waste. Did she say anything about the $250 million blown on the original Columbia River crossing plan as being a waste of taxpayer dollars? I don't remember that. Or Highway 20 going over to the coast that went way over budget. I don't remember her saying that either. But maybe I just didn't get the memo. Maybe she didn't send me the card in the mail. And in case you're wondering how Tina Kotek views Brown's moves in terms of the death penalty commutations and the death penalty in general, well, 2.0 says she agrees with Governor Brown, since the death penalty and killing another human being is against her religion. That's the first time religion has come up, as far as I know, with Kotek. I wonder what her religion says about abortion. Maybe somebody needs to ask her. So Richard Gilman.
Okay, he goes on about something else, and we'll show you that another time. Talk to me, Jake. What are you feeling?
It's disgusting, man. I don't know. It's pretty frustrating.
Your microphone is kind of weird. Can you?
It's pretty frustrating, man. I honestly don't even have words for it. I thank God that Conan decided to be given a true life sentence, because all of these guys can walk now. Every one of them are eligible to walk.
So the one saving grace for your family, and the family of Crystal, and also Patrick,
yeah.
is that just couple. That's a God thing, isn't it? Just a couple of months ago, he takes a plea bargain to take a true life. So this really,
and that alone, that pisses me off. I honestly, I could care less if the guy dies now, but he was sentenced. He was given a sentence. There's been millions and millions of tax dollars that have gone towards incarcerating him, keeping him healthy, keeping him fed, keeping him clothed. And now, none of that matters now, for
right.
any of these guys.
So what do you say to your brother? Does it feel like it's that? What would you say? Obviously I cussed, but what would you say to Kate Brown? How narcissistic of her? Just tell me, what would you say to her?
Oh, fuck her. She's, yeah. The stuff that she's done to this state is disgusting. I've lived here my whole life. I've never wanted to leave, and I can't fucking stand living here anymore because of people like her, because of leadership like her, that she doesn't give a shit about any of us or our opinions.
Right.
If you look at the majority of the state leans the other way, so we have a concentration of people in a really fucked up, shitty environment that's being ran by people that want to push it in that direction, and that sways the vote for all of us. It's disgusting.
What's super unfortunate about this too is that voters have said they've tried to overturn it, and me personally, a few years ago, I started looking at stuff, and I'm not a pro capital punishment person.
Right.
But when that's the law, that's the law, and
Right.
you do it. So you know what I mean? And if you're in a trial and it finishes and they say to the family, of Brandon's, and say, this is a death penalty and that's what'll happen. What's one thing that's disgusting is it still hasn't happened. It's taken so long. But two, now you have a governor who's going out of office, and this is her personal ideology.
Yeah.
And she's forcing that on the people of Oregon, which she's not even. Now you got a new governor who's coming in who apparently agrees with that. So I don't give a shit what you think, Governor Brown or Governor Kotek. The people of Oregon have spoken. And that's what this COVID, all of it hit me in the face like this. But this is just disgusting because it takes Brandon and Patrick, and there's another one, Tesla Nicole. I remember covering this story. I can't remember who the killer is because I try to forget killers' names, but he murdered her and she was 3 years old. It was his girlfriend's kid. And then he hit her, and he's on the list. And Donna, all the trauma that Donna Ream has gone through, and just to come back to being a human being again.
And like you said earlier, these are the worst of the worst. These aren't, it's not like every person that's ever killed somebody in the state of Oregon is sitting on death row or was sitting on death row. Like, these are the worst of the worst people. They've been tried, and they've been convicted of their crimes, and they were deemed unfit to be a part of our society. And now we're going to give them that opportunity again.
Right. Well, that's the thing about, which one was it Bill was saying, or I was reading on there, that one of these killers, and it might have been Michael, but one of them, every single, I think Bill said, it's Gilmore, the one that's coming up that he was going to talk about. I'll play it for people in a minute. But this guy, that over and over, the board has said, no, he's not the parole board, but the experts have said he shouldn't be paroled, and they're letting him out. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's for all of these guys. All of these guys, they've been sitting on death row, I guess technically not, because last year she got rid of death row, so they were all moved into a general population anyways.
Right.
Which may or may not be worse for them. They still protect them on some level. So now we're catering to them because they're special needs.
So tell me this, because unfortunately, Brown has a bunch of support in Oregon there's people out there watching right now, and they're actually thinking, well, they still have a life sentence, and you can't take someone else's life.
Yeah, well, think about your brother or your sister, your mom, your dad, whoever it might be, being brutally raped, molested, fucking beat to death, shot. I don't know. I don't know how you could say that somebody like that can be rehabilitated. You can't be really rehabilitated after something like that. And even if you could, you have to pay the consequences of what you're given. You did the crime, now you have to do the time. So what? We're just not going to make them do the time now,
right? What I find so interesting is Governor Brown and Governor Kotek are apparently very open to giving these killers a second chance and a voice. But where's Brandon's voice? Where's Crystal's voice? Where's Donna Ream's voice? Where's Franny Wall's voice? Where's all these other victims? Where's their voice?
They don't give them one. They forgot.
Unbelievable. Okay, listen to this next part. Here's Bill's other next thing.
The serial child rapist with 9 admitted victims was released last Friday. His parole comes with the definition of low risk to reoffend, which of course offends his victims. And that definition is going to keep him off the state sex offender website and prohibits law enforcement from telling his soon-to-be new neighbors in Portland, that a child rapist is living in their neighborhood. That's where Gilmore's victims enter. Tiffany Edens, who was raped by Gilmore when she was 13, does know where he's being released, and she's canvassing the area, letting neighbors know where Gilmore lives, and nice big posters with his picture on them.
Good.
Other victims have said they're going to do the same. Now, keep in mind, even though he has garnered the definition of low risk to offend by Oregon's parole board, every mental evaluation that was sent to the parole board by court psychologists have repeatedly said that Gilmore is likely to re-offend. Oh well. Gilmore is going to be living in subsidized housing in Northwest Portland in a location where minors are not admitted inside. Of course, they're going to be living around him, but that doesn't count as far as the parole board's concerned.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, man.
And
So
then
who's evaluating these guys? You know, the same people that are letting fucking murderers walk.
Well, then what's so weird, Jake, is that that nobody, I can't believe that people are not in an uproar over this. That it's like, but see, it's like there's a spell over a bunch of people in Oregon. You know what I mean?
I don't even get it, man. Like, yeah, I've been out of state so many times this year, and I hear people talk about Oregon, and they're just like, "What the fuck is going on over there?"
Yeah.
I mean, what really is going on here? I've lived here my whole life. Like, none of this makes any sense to me.
No, it doesn't add up. And people are sitting. We got Mayor Wheeler and Governor Brown talking about crime and what they're going to do about crime, but they're not prosecuting anyone. And it's like, can you? If I didn't know better, I think you want this to all fall apart. You know what I mean? And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's like, how can you? If the actions, if you release murderers, you're going to probably have more murderers. Murders.
Yeah.
You know,
but then it gets even better. Now they want to like strip us of some of our gun rights and shit too. Like they want to make us apply for a permit to say that we're fit, or whether or not we are fit to be able to even go and purchase a gun or carry a gun, hold a gun. Like, yeah. So you're going to let murderers walk, and then you're going to restrict our rights.
And yeah, right. So you let murderers out on the street, Governor Brown, and then the voters of Oregon narrowly approved, but they approved a ballot measure that now makes it so that it's going to be harder for law-abiding citizens to get a gun. So you got murders on the streets, but Jake, you can't use your gun. And what are you going to do is if the killer's outside your door and all you have is a 12 magazine, and can't use that, I'll just have to let my family get murdered and butchered up by this guy. I mean, and you know what's it's going to get to a point where people are just going to stop and they're going to go, I'm not abiding by this anymore. I know so many people who are just going, nah, I don't care.
Man, everybody I know is moving out of state, making plans to move out of state. They've already moved out of state, you know, like everybody's leaving. And that's kind of one of the problems, you know, is there's so many people moving here that are trying to push it in that direction. And the people that have lived here their entire lives, you know, grew up and raised, born here, are moving out in just dramatic fashion. So
Oh, I'm obviously, you know, Jake, you guys know Jake is my dear friend and he's my tattoo artist. He's done all my work, which I do get a lot of compliments in Montana on your work, sir. So if you do come this way, I can already get you going.
I have a lot of clients out there now.
But it is interesting because the only connection I have with any of this bullshit is through my work. In my life here in Montana, I don't know my friends. I don't know whether my new friends are Republicans or Democrats. Nobody talks about it. We don't care. Right. It's about taking care of your community and how you're going to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And
then you come out here and it's like your social class.
I think there's just, it feels to me like there's just a huge lack of responsibility for yourself. You know, take freaking responsibility for what you do.
Yeah.
And it feels like,
well, how's anybody going to feel responsible for themselves when nobody's holding them accountable for themselves?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And if you can go out and you can sell drugs, carry drugs, do drugs, whatever, you can murder people, rape people, and they're just going to slap your hand and let you back out. Like, there's no consequences to be had. How are you going to prevent people from going crazy and losing their minds and doing stupid shit?
You know that I know people. Somebody on here on Montana, Catherine says there are so many Oregon plates here in Montana. I finally got mine off because my business owned my truck, and I had to get it all changed through Toyota, and they're so screwed up that it took me 7 months to get my license. And it's like, oh, I only got a big fuck you on my truck one time.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "Fuck, go home, take your."
I was just out there and I had a couple people point it out actually.
Yeah, no, you don't.
You're from Oregon, huh?
Right. But you know what's the cool thing, Jake, as long as we're getting a little bit positive here. The cool thing is people here really do welcome you. They just are leery because, and I am too, I'm the same way because I saw what the Californians did to Oregon. I'm a native Oregonian. And when they came in, the liberal Californian people, not the conservative, but the liberal that came in, and they brought their failed ideas that destroyed their state to Oregon and then destroyed my state. And so when I come to Montana, the people that what we came here, dude, is to assimilate. I love what you have. I don't want to change anything. But here's the positive. I think the more of us who come out here with the same ideals and going, I want my guns, I want my freedom, I want my life. I don't want to change you. I'm not going to, I think people should have to work for their money, not be given it. Then it takes that balance, and you kind of we have a power source here. You know what I mean? It's like, and because I think people are worried that all the that it's going to become a blue state or something, and I don't think a lot of people who are blue could live like this. It's going to be 32 below zero on Wednesday, and you know what happens in the winter?
I think they're starting to get really, really outnumbered out there because everybody on the other side of it's moving that way.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Jake, I am so sorry about your. Any word from Patty Perlow, though? Love to hear why she's not vocal about it. Yeah, that's a good idea, Matt. I'll have to check in. Maybe Bill Lundun.
I think a lot of the families maybe don't know. They're not. I mean, the reason we knew really is because of outreach. I mean, we heard a whisper and started making noise about it. And yeah, I mean, I wish there was something I could do for all the other families and stuff. It just blows my mind.
Because I'll tell you, when I called Donna, when I texted Donna to tell her, she had no idea that it had happened. And, I mean, what makes me so angry okay, so let's take Conan for one. So he already not only destroyed your family, in a way, you know what I mean? You've come back to, there's a lot of destruction there. He devalued your brother in the crime itself, and by killing him, and Crystal and Patrick and Franny Wall, all these different people got devalued. And the idea to me to a sentencing is to give them value again. As you are a human being, and somebody can't do this to you. What Governor Brown and now Governor Kotek have done, Governor-elect Kotek, are doing by making these kind of statements is, again, victimizing the families, the victims, the survivors, and the voters in Oregon who said, we don't want this. Now, I think there's been a lot of things the governor says, well, a lot of people support what I'm doing. What, your little friends in your little office?
Yeah.
That's not how it works. You go back to the people and you say, let's try this again. Here's what I want to do. You don't go through the back door. And she didn't even sneak in. And what makes me so angry, I'm sorry. No,
they're doing it all under the table. I mean, they're trying to keep it behind closed doors. They don't want anybody to know about it. They don't want people talking about it.
But Jacob, really, she's not. I mean, she's just flagrantly going out and doing that. I mean, it's on the news, I guess. I don't watch, but I mean, I see clips online. So she's putting it out there, and it's almost like thumbing her nose at people, just like she did with COVID. Is like, I can do this because I have executive power. And I think what people in Oregon need to do is say, we're going to change the laws, and you're not going to have that kind of executive power because you're abusing it, and you don't get to go around the voters with 17 people, 17 commutations. I mean, And all death row? I mean, that is making a political statement. That's not doing that's not doing the will of the people. That's doing the will of one person.
Yeah.
Just-
She could have taken all of them and put them in a hearing with a judge and let a judge decide what to do from here forward, you know.
well, they're already sentenced. Who cares?
Right.
It's not
Yeah.
if she wants to do it. If you're going to, commute a couple of people, but never to call the families or have any contact, you can tell that's why it's devious. Is because you don't want to go to the families because you don't want to hear the family's perspective because you're just it devalues you and anybody who survived or a family member. It's basically saying screw you. I don't care what you say. And here Matt Kendall goes, she's a lame duck governor, so I'm sure there is some kind of statement trying to be made as she rolls out of office. Well, you know what, Oregonians, you should make some kind of statement too. And you should be up in arms. This should be absolutely disgusting you. But here's what's so scary to me. You voted in the same thing. Oh my gosh. Out of fear of having a Republican. Oh God, what would be such a horrible thing, a fear of having, I know people who said they didn't vote for Betsy Johnson because they would have, because they thought she'd be the best, but they didn't think she could win. And they knew Tina was not the best candidate, but they were so afraid to have a Republican as governor. Now what you've done is this is the kind of stuff you do when you vote like that.
Sweet it.
Crazy. Well, Jake, you know what? I welcome you anytime to Montana.
I'm hoping to be out there. I will definitely be a lot closer to you next year, actually. So
okay, and just bring your tools, and I got a place to stay, and we'll just do a little trade. I got a little mountain I kind of want to put out here.
Sounds like a deal.
All right, Stead. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming on. All right. See you. How weird is that? Okay, so here's like a God thing. I'll just share this and then we'll get out of here. And I forgot to mention at the top, our sponsors. We can't do this without Buck Sanitary Service and Chris Dental Family Dentistry. Buck Sanitary has been so good to us. We're no longer going to have them, but next year as a client, they're moving in a different direction. But man, they've been good to us and good people, and Scott and Lisa and everything. And then Michael over at Chris Dental Family Dentistry. If you guys are at the end, you got a few days left before the end of the year, 2 weeks. And if you're met your deductible, you have a crown or a tooth needs to get fixed, the filling coming out, get your teeth cleaned before the end of the year because your insurance is paid for it. Just get in there and get that done real fast. And they also do dentures now too as well. We couldn't do this without them. But here's the deal. Okay, so I had Donna scheduled. I don't know what happened, but I have so much grace for her because I love her to death. And something happened, but I was a little frustrated because I'm like going, oh man, this is my show tonight. And I'm basically being canceled on, and what a good God we serve, huh? Then Jake Williams comes on, and I saw him at the end and I went, oh my gosh, I wish I would have contacted Jake. And he popped on there and I got an interview. That's the kind of thing. I have an executive producer named God, and he does a really cool thing for me all the time. And that was, I was really kind of down. Yeah. Candy says, I'm sure it's overwhelming for her. And I'm sure it was. Like I said, no hard feelings. I have so much grace for that woman. I love her to death. She's a good friend. But isn't that funny how God just covers things for Donna, for me? Jake gets to speak. You guys get to speak on here. Amazing stuff. Well, that's our show for tonight. That was better than I thought. One word in there I said earlier, I wish I hadn't, but I just was on a roll. So tomorrow night, Dr. Michael Bratland is going to join me, and we're going to have a little rant about some of the things going on. You'll enjoy it. It'll be great. And then on Wednesday, we'll have Bait and Tackle Rob's coming on. So we're going to talk about stuff going on in the world and what's happening. We'll have Brian Miskimmons. He's our weather guy, going to tell us, because it's supposed to be really cold coming up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He's going to give us a weather forecast for Oregon, Montana, and Idaho. And then on Thursday, BS Free MD is going to be here, Tim and May, and they have a guest coming on. So we're going to do like a 4-person podcasting thing that they're going to talk about lifestyle changes and what we can do to get healthier living. And it's not like big rules and regulations. It's just going to be like stuff news you can really use. Candy, you're welcome. God is great. And for all that I do, that's what gets frustrating sometimes. I work really hard at my job. And so today he just covered my ass again and again and again. What you guys can do for me is share this on your page so other people see it. That would be really helpful. And of course, we want to thank Bill Lundun, always stepping in and inspiring me with a story or two. So, all right, share it on your page and we will go from here. All right, have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.